Here with us now to talk more about what we've seen from the Harris-Walz campaign so far. I'd like to welcome in national politics reporter with our partners at thehill.com, Julia Manchester, also live for us there at the DNC. Julia, thank you for your time. So we're talking campaigning here. Talk about what we're hearing from the Harris campaign right now, how she is sort of separating herself or trying to separate herself from the current administration, and maybe surprisingly trying to align herself in some ways with the former administration of Barack Obama.
Hey, it's good to see you, Nichole. Look, this is a very fine line that Harris must really walk throughout this week. I think we saw yesterday when Joe Biden addressed the Democratic National Convention, he was talking about his own record as president, which is an extension Kamala Harris's record as vice president. He talked about his legislative achievements, the Build Back Better program, for example, the bipartisan infrastructure law that was passed, talking about his administration's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. You are going to see Harris very much claim those accomplishments as her own because she was vice president. But at the same time, this is no longer the Biden-Harris campaign. This is now the Harris-Walz campaign. So she wants to put her own spin on this going forward. So I think you're going to see her talk about some of her new policy proposals, going forward in the campaign. But you're also going to see, some of these other speakers try to differentiate maybe Harris and Biden in that way. It's sort of emblematic of this passing of the torch moment. Harris obviously being the younger generation here and representing that. But it's interesting that we're talking about Barack and Michelle Obama addressing the convention here in Chicago. Barack Obama's 2008 campaign was really, defined by these phrases of hope and change. And you are seeing those phrases echoed once again by the Harris campaign, in addition to the campaign calling itself a campaign of joy, really, and, a forward-looking campaign. So expect Barack Obama and Michelle Obama to touch on those themes later tonight.
Yeah, so Julia, forward-looking, we know, though, that, Harris in some ways is looking back, kind of pulling a bit from the Obama administration. But in a move that aligns with the current administration, Kamala Harris is proposing to raise the corporate tax rate to 28%. I'm asking about this because we know that no matter what, it's important to try to bridge gaps, between the opposing sides. Would she have the needed leverage to negotiate with Republicans?
Well, it depends how well Republicans do in the election when it comes for the races in the House and the Senate. If this is a Democratic blowout in November, I think we could see Kamala Harris really push ahead with those tax hikes, similarly to how we saw Donald Trump push ahead with his tax cuts in 2017 with those famous Trump tax cuts. So that's why I think you're going to hear here tonight at the DNC and throughout the week the importance of these down ballot races, particularly in these very competitive districts, many of which reside in these very competitive swing states of Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, the list goes on. So that's where they're going to sort of bridge that gap and really try to, encourage voters to vote Democratic down the line to get those Democratic principles over the line.
And another thing the delegates there at the DNC are going to be hearing, Julia, is from Republicans. There will be Republicans speaking at the DNC, Republicans like former Representative Adam Kinzinger, former Trump press secretary Stephanie Grisham. These Republicans are speaking in support of Kamala Harris. What message is that sending?
Look, I think normally during presidential campaigns, particularly in the Trump era of politics, you have a lot of Republicans, prominent Republicans like the ones you just mentioned, speaking out against former President Trump, talking about how Trump has taken over the GOP, how it's no longer the GOP, but rather the party of Trump. So I think they're going to be making a plea to some more moderate voters, maybe some Republican voters. To be fair, I don't think, Stephanie Grisham, Adam Kinzinger, Jeff Duncan, et cetera, are necessarily representative of the Republican vote at large. I think this is very much Trump's Republican Party. But I think having a bipartisan group present at the DNC allows them to maybe, reach across, I should say, to more moderate swing voters who, may like Trump's policies, but they don't like Trump the man.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.